What's up, everybody? I'm Reggie Casual, and welcome to Class, a show dedicated to learning more about building a brand. Working as a designer and independent consultant for lifestyle, fashion, and various other brands for a little over 10 years now has given me insight into what makes a successful brand and what doesn't make a successful brand. It's not a really good pitch. And because resources are scarce and going to school is an expensive endeavor, we're presenting the basics right here on this channel. Today, we're talking about the very first thing you need to know before starting a brand in any space, but particularly in fashion, and that is branding. Yes, you still need it. You absolutely need to learn about it, and we're gonna iron out why. So let's get started. Now, before we go full tilt into branding, let's get one thing out of the way. Fashion is a business, and regardless of how creative and or talented you are, most of you who start on fashion ventures never pick up a business book or let alone study business enough to navigate the world that you are about to set off to. This is why failed brands happen all the time. It's not all the other reasons that are kind of funny and whatever. Most of the time it has nothing to do with designers, production, and even money to that degree. All those things are important, mind you, especially money, but for the most part, would-be labels, they just don't care enough about business, hoping that their talent alone will get them noticed by people of import. And waiting for things to fall in your lap is just bad business. That's where branding comes in. It sets you up for business. Branding allows for people to gravitate towards your message and vision. What seems like a groundswell of support to a new successful label from the outside is actually a carefully navigated and crafted approach to branding that sets successful labels and unsuccessful labels apart. So, I know you've been waiting, dog, explain it to me, like get to the point, or rather what is branding, but you kind of need that background to understand why it's important. But let me go ahead and just tell you. Branding is the opportunity to create your company's personality and forge a closer connection to your eventual customers. It differentiates you from your competitors, gives you background, and allows you to garner interest. Succinctly, it helps you and your brand stand out. And this is more than just your logo, which is what many novice company runners stop at when considering branding. Note, your logo really isn't as important as you think, and it damn sure isn't as important as the full scope of your branding. So, what is the full scope? How do you make your label stand out? Let me list out the ways. 1, don't follow trends, create them. The biggest problem with many startup brands is that they are too influenced by their favorite brands, essentially making the same thing without any unique element. Consider this: if I had a choice between a new unknown brand that looks similar to a well-established product, which do you think I would pick? And you may think, well, then I'll sell mine at a lower price. Yeah, no. You know those generic cereals that taste virtually the same as the name brand jump-offs that cost more that are on the bottom of the shelf at the grocery store? Yeah, people are still willing to pay for the premium stuff, even if the generic is cheaper. Why? Because cheaper doesn't mean you'll sell more. It simply sets you up to be a cheap knockoff of the real thing. So best thing to do is to create your own lane, identify areas you can take advantage of, and go from there. 2, build trust. Trust is the single most important currency in branding. Trust. Seriously. If people don't trust your product, you'll get very few buyers and almost no loyalists. Building trust means identifying problems, creating avenues for a particular community, and finding ways to fix those problems, and in this case, via fashion. This often starts with finding things that are no longer available in the market and providing it, or modifying something in the market and making it better, and then presenting that to the individuals that you know need it, or at least they think they need it. 3, don't be afraid to experiment. One of the things I often see is too many new brands play it safe, which is why they make labels incredibly similar to the labels already in the market. It isn't bad logic, really. If something is already successful, then do that thing, right? Except in fashion, those some things are often already saturated due to the sheer amount of fashion companies and startups that do the same thing. So you have to experiment with your most outrageous idea. The idea you think would alienate most people is actually the idea you should probably explore first. It all goes back to creating your own trend, your own lane, and being unique and being confident in what you do. 4, repeat your brand message. If you ever caught one of our episodes before now, you may have heard our ending call out. It's like, keep it locked right here for all of your info on international fashion culture and business from Tokyo, and keep it casual. You know, and I'll see you guys in a minute, right? This simple ending states what we are, where we're located, how we approach the content, and presents authenticity by using Japanese at the end, regardless of what people say. This is not by accident. It's to keep things predictable for fans, loyalists, and more importantly, helps those who follow feel a sense of community and reliability. Every successful brand does this to some degree, from Nike to Apple, from LV, Louis Vuitton to Gucci. It may not be an outward message, but the image is consistent and constantly repeated either visually, in print, or orally. So repeat that message. Now, before we get into the last few of these, we do have a Patreon and private Discord that is filled with individuals just like you, building brands and labels, or just simply talking fashion trends and looks. By joining, you too can get access to more in-depth lessons on things like branding, production, marketing, sales, and much more. And extra content that has nothing to do with that stuff. We even have a webinar every month where you can ask questions directly to me and special guests when we have them. So if you're interested, join us there and get locked into our new season of class. It's all being updated and you can watch it right after this episode. That being said, next in this episode is number 5, have great visibility. Regardless of what folks tell you about building cheap brands or starting with $0, we'll tell you at one point you need coverage, advertisement, and promotion. Lucky for you, you live in an age where all those things are much easier to access. And best of all, you can create meaningful relationships and garner trust, which is important, in far more unique ways than ever before. You'll just have to know those unique ways. And that's the kind of stuff we unpack in the official class episodes on Patreon. So again, if you're interested, hate to, keep bringing it up, might want to just check that out. Next, number 6, exceed expectations. You have to go above and beyond with potential customers. Add more value than what's expected. Hey, you're selling varsity jackets? Surprise customers with a promotional tee, dresses, a handwritten letter, and a wax-sealed envelope. Chef's kiss. A t-shirt. How about the best and softest weave you can find? And by the time someone actually wears it, they are amazed at its quality, telling everyone those are the best tees that they've ever worn in their life. The point is, you must create experiences. And once you do, you create loyalists. And finally, at number 7, don't try to please everyone. Don't try to please everyone. Please don't do this. Branding is all about identifying people who will listen. And the truth is, not everyone gonna listen. Not everyone gonna listen. They just gonna sit there and be like, yeah, dog, I don't give a damn about nothing you say. Nothing. Bad grammar and all. They're gonna use that entire phrase. Your job is not to pay attention to those people. Your job is to find the people that will listen to what you have to say. To be honest, this is where a ton of creatives struggle. They take to heart the opinions of people who don't care to listen and who don't matter, instead of learning and low-key depending on people who do matter. But in order for those people to listen to you, you have to be knowledgeable about what the hell you're presenting. Because the reality is, people listen to other people who at least sound like they know what they're talking about. Like for the longest, McDonald's, I know I'm bringing this up, but listen, for the longest, McDonald's has been saying they love to see you smile. But for the longest, I can never remember smiling as I ate anything at McDonald's. But they sound sincere. So I guess it works. I guess they're being real. They sound like they know a thing or two about making people happy. Point is, regardless of how substandard or great something is, there are going to be people that will listen if the message is clear, consistent, and we know where said brand stands. That's why you shouldn't set out to please everyone, but to reach someone, because a lot of someones can make a brand. Now, there are further steps to creating strong branding that we do cover in our official class episode. I know I keep pinging this, but it's important. So if you want to, don't be afraid to check out that episode on Patreon right after this. And if you have questions that are just of the more general nature, go ahead and put them in the comments. But most importantly, keep it locked right here for all of your info on international fashion culture and business from Tokyo. It's your boy, and keep it casual. Yoroshiku onegaishimasu. And I will see you guys in a minute.